Hey. You really have to excuse me. I might start hysterically sneezing right in the middle of this video. I don't know whether I'm having an allergic reaction or something. Something crazy is going on with my nose right now. Um, it feels like it's on fire. It feels like my my nose is so sensitive, and it honestly feels like it's on fire at the moment. Um, yeah, so please forgive me if I just start sneezing. So today is the spring equinox, which I am so excited about. So excited about. And it's definitely a cause of celebration to if you've been working on anything, or if you feel like time has sort of stopped for you, or you've been sitting waiting for something to happen, like literally from today, it's going to feel like it's going into overdrive. An Aries season as well, so literally there is just so much power behind anything that you've been working on. So you can let me know how it's going after the spring equinox. I'm doing some lovely food, and I'm having a few beers and a big fire, and being around people that I love very much today. Um, and I'm also doing lots of work today. But so the thing that I wanted to talk about is the main reason why, well, not the main reason, one of the things that I promised at the start of all of this work. So I started an Instagram page quite soon after having my little boy. And I called it Mindful Muscle Mummy. And I wanted to debunk the fitness culture, the health food industry, nutrition, weight loss, muscle gain, all just that whole thing, that whole massive beast. Because over my life, and I'll probably say since I was about 10, I started becoming really aware of how I looked and what I should look like. And obviously with the media and everything, I think it's quite hard to not second guess what you look like, and what your body shape should look like, and all this kind of stuff. And from being very young, I've always been very muscular and haven't really had to try to put muscle on at all, especially in my legs. And I always felt like I was bigger than everybody else, especially the girls. And I went through a lot of years of being bullied and being called fat and things like that. And it was weird because I knew that I wasn't. I was incredibly fit in my upper school. I was really good at athletics. I played tons of sport. I danced. I pretty much did every club. You name it, I was doing it. And I would have done so much more had I been supported by my parents. Just with one thing or another, they couldn't really. They were. By the time they had me, I was. They were way too old to be messing about and going to sports meets and things like that. But yeah, I I always really struggled with the way that I looked, even though I was extremely fit, extremely passionate about the ability of my body, and I knew deep down that I wasn't any of those things that people would say to me, and I really enjoyed my body when I was younger, and I knew that I was very capable. I could always keep up with what I was trying to do, and I could learn pretty easy. I was obsessed with football for a lot of years, and rugby and cricket, and just everything. And I got into gym culture when my boyfriend at the time started working at a gym, and I excelled at that too. But I think part of it became an obsession with me, and I got very hung up on body shape and muscle definition and all that kind of thing, and got really really into it. And then when when I went off to university, it was just like there was no room for the gym. There was no room in my life for keeping up with my fitness and my health, and I went completely the opposite way and just put tons of weight on. But it was all from beer that I was drinking. Terrible lifestyle, eating crap, and yeah, just excessive amounts of alcohol. And then I I went completely the other way when I started dancing, and literally went from like a size 14 to a size, I don't even think I was a 0. I was absolutely microscopic. And I was very poorly. I was very poorly up here, and I was very poorly in my body as well. And that early obsession with my weight and how I looked came back with a vengeance. And the industry that I was in was basically leading me up the garden path. I became obsessed with diet pills and laxatives, and was buying all these sort of quick fix, diets and all sorts of stuff. At one point, I was addicted to ephedrine, which is illegal as far as I'm aware, and I was scoffing them like Smarties, and I was just completely obsessed with taking them and the effect that they were having on me. And I would exercise to the point where, yeah, my joints and especially my knees, they used to burn. And because I wasn't obviously looking after my body, the amount of exercise that I was doing was just completely raping my body. And I have had to work very hard to come back out the other side of being very poorly, and the way I look at my body, and I also ended up having a breast augmentation when I was dancing. Cheerleaded on by my boyfriend at the time, who thought it was a great idea. And since then I've had to have another operation because they went wrong, and now I can't wait to get them out. And I will be getting them out as soon as I've got the money. I cannot wait. So where am I going with this? So over the years, I have literally had every aspect of of eating disorders, diets, you name it. I have put my poor body through it. And it was only really in I can honestly say it's only been since getting pregnant with my little boy where I fell back in love with my body. And what part of that was because of the wonder of what it was actually doing and achieving, and actually researching into what my body was doing, and especially with breastfeeding, it just completely blew my mind. And it was weird because I'd done so much research into my body and nutrition and all this kind of thing for years prior to being pregnant, and I was actually infertile for 10 of those years, which led me to do just a sick amount of research. And nothing really hit the mark of me being able to fall in love with my body than actually researching it in a different way, coming at it from a different angle. And these are some of the things that I want to get across. There's two different avenues to look at what your body's doing and how it's achieving what it's achieving, and just how amazing it is. And before getting pregnant, I was very driven by how can I make my body be as efficient as humanly possible, to give me an aesthetic result. That was the goal, the aesthetics. And then when I completely switched over to how can I nourish my body and my mind, that's two completely different avenues. So when you're aesthetically trying to treat your body, you actually cause more harm to your mental health and your mind. So that was one of the reasons why, and I want to talk about this in a separate video because I'm just covering so much stuff. It's a humongous topic. But yeah, when I switched my focus to actually nourishment and what is best for me, and longevity and yeah, just a more loving approach to my body and my nutrition and health and exercise and all the rest of it, it completely changed. Like literally just like, all right, what have I been doing all this time, and the misinformation that's out there is just bonkers, and pretty annoying that so many of us have followed it for so long and still do, and and who feel so depressed and low and all those negative feelings because we are constantly trying to find the answers and we're not actually being given them. And over the last 3 years since having my little boy, I've put into action all the research and studies that I can find to practice what I'm going to be preaching. And I've just finished. So this year, this whole year, I've been wanting to prove how little exercise that you can do to maintain weight. So since I would say this time last year, I have not exercised whatsoever. And anyone who knows me knows that's quite hard for me because I love to be doing my thing. I did a charity run in back end of May, which I did very little training for, like, I've God knows how I managed to do my 10 miles. I have no idea. I just didn't have the time at the time. But anyway, so I did a charity run, and that's literally just been all my exercise. I don't do sit-ups, I don't do lunges, I don't do challenges, I don't go to the gym, I don't go running, I don't do any form of exercise whatsoever, and I haven't done for over a year, I would say. And basically, the point I'm trying to prove is that we actually are, our bodies are extremely well balanced machines, and we're taught that we need more all the time, more food, more exercise, more. And realistically, I think I've managed to prove that to myself, how little that we need and we can do, because we're taught from the diet industry that we need to be drinking like 3 litres of water a day or something ridiculous like that. Loads and loads of water. We're meant to have 3 meals a day plus snacks. And obviously, if we're training, we need to have more. And then we need to do an hour. What is it? An hour exercise a day, 4 days a week or something? Is that quite natural? I don't know. Different plans, different things. But over this past year, what I've just literally tried to keep it as simple as possible and listen to my body. And I've said this into another post. If we can cut out all the bullshit and the outside interference, i.e. from all your senses, so you're seeing adverts, you're smelling restaurants, your friends are going for lunch and all this kind of thing. Like, you're being given signals from the outside that you should be eating and that you are hungry and all this kind of thing. When it's not your internal feelings. You're, like, for example, I'm just trying to think of an example. Yeah, if you can cut off all of those outside interference and just listen to your internal monologue, when am I hungry? And this takes a lot of practice, because when your belly rumbles, that's not necessarily when you are actually hungry. Your belly could be rumbling for lots of different reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're hungry. There's thirst. There's all these kinds of different feelings that you'll get around what your tummy is trying to communicate to your brain. And another thing that you also need to learn is that your tummy is also like a second brain. You've got two different things going on here. This is all for another post, which I'll cover, but this is just the preliminary what I'm up to. And today, last night, I went for my first run in absolutely ages. And the spring solstice for me is to get back to some equilibrium within me and do things for me. Because over the last 3 years, as I said, I've tried every diet, I've tried every... I've just tried to experience as much as possible. I've done a water fast for a ridiculous amount of time. I've tried to literally experience as much as humanly possible, just to clarify all the things that I've learned and all the things that I have taught myself over these last few years, because I've always received really good feedback about my body and how I look, and I want to share the things that I know and the things that I do so that you can feel as good about your body as what I do. And I'm not one. I've been trying for a year. This is the truth. No, it's been longer than that. A friend of mine was going to take some photographs of me to sort of advertise the work that I do on my Mindful Muscle page, and I wanted to do a photo shoot and say, it's all achievable, just in a sort of different way. And I was like, how can I get this information across to the public without having to show my body? Because that's the thing, we're so in with the aesthetic of what we look like that we're losing sight of what we actually feel like. And I've sort of really backed off from the idea of showing my body and showing me, in a bikini or anything like that, because I think that's just more of the same. That's more of what you're seeing. Instead, can I show you a more authentic way of being and existing without having to say, look at me, look at me, look at my body, and I just sort of think it's not really helpful. It's not really helpful trying to teach about how something really feels rather than what you can see in an industry that only cares about what you see. You've seen how many billions of photographs of PTs and nutritionists and whatever else, with glowing skin and standing there in their sports kit with their abs out and things like this. I mean, speaking from experience, I can look at them and say, I don't look like that, and does that mean that I'm wrong? No. So yeah, over the next few videos, I'm going to try and share as much of that that information with you as possible, just to give you some tips on how to get started. But it's, to me, I think the reason why over the years so many people have asked me what to do about diets, what to do about being healthy, what to do. And I always say the same thing. Every single time I speak to someone, I always say the same thing. And it's always so simple that they think it's bullshit and they won't do it. And, and they want it yesterday. And it really doesn't work like that. Your body's not meant to snap into a way of being. It doesn't happen like that. It actually, your body will react a hell of a lot quicker if you are in a relaxed state of mind, if you are happy and enjoying yourself. And generally, when you meet someone on a journey to start losing weight or to start being fitter or start sorting themselves out, generally they're not in, a happy, relaxed mindset. So for me, that is the thing that needs to be addressed first, because you get this sorted out and everything else will follow. The body has no choice but to keep up with this. And I hope that over the next few videos I can get to share some of the information that I have learned, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it actually. But I'm gonna go because I've waffled. Have a lovely spring equinox, and yeah, take care.